In 2021, only 51% of homicide cases were solved, and the numbers are only getting worse. Why? Why is this happening in a world of constant surveillance, advances in technology, and police training? Police and detectives are going through training on how to handle and solve these homicide cases, along with working with teams of forensic biologists and software engineers. So I decided to research what are effective techniques police and detectives use to solve homicide cases in urban areas. What are the different tasks when it comes to solving a homicide case? The police. The police are kind of the bronze of the job. They make any arrest, they're the first ones onto the scene, they secure the scene, and they collect any quick information, then hand that on down to the detective. The detective, they're the ones who dive deep into the information gathered throughout the whole case and try to make anything up for it. And the forensic biologists, they get any DNA collected from throughout the case and run that through the lab, and that can be used to help solve homicide cases later on. And the software engineers, what they do is a little weird. They use AI technology to help solve the case. So in America, there are 3 different degrees of murder. I just want to talk about these one real quick. First degree murder, that is premeditated. You planned on how you were going to kill this person, what you were going to use, where you were going to do it, and how you were going to get away. Second degree murder, this is when your actions show that you don't care that the person you killed with your actions. So if you're getting charged with first degree murder, on top of that, the court is also going to charge you with second degree murder. And then third degree murder. This is when you accidentally kill somebody. This could either be through a car accident or misuse of a weapon that led to the person's death. This one you'll probably not get in any trouble with. So now opening the case. This is the police officer's job. Firstly, the police officer must arrive on scene safely. Any car accident or road blockages can cause a huge time effect and any decay of evidence. But when the officer arrives safely, they must document everything. Time of arrival, how many people are there on scene, lighting, the weather, and if anyone was with them when they arrived on the scene. Then they must secure the scene, putting up any caution tape and moving any civilians off to the side for later. And then once they secure the scene, they will then canvass it. I'm only going to talk about 3 of these. So first, the strip method. This would probably be used for a big open area such as a road or a highway or a warehouse. Grid method would probably be used for more an enclosed area, say a forest. And then the zone method, which would probably be used for, say, a house. So when they are canvassing the scene, they must take pictures and sketch anything that could have possibly been involved with the murder, such as a dead body, a weapon, a blood splatter, a corner with a corner of a table that has blood on it, anything that could have been possibly involved. Then, after they canvass the scene, they will move on to witness questioning. This will be either on scene, or if they find out any witnesses that have left the scene later on, they will go to their house later. But for now, we'll just keep this on scene. So they will take any quick information on the witness, such as name, age, and then they will ask them for a descriptive detail if they caught how the murder happened. So they will ask for a descriptive detail of what happened, what was used, and then they'll ask them if they have any photo or video evidence of the crime happening. If they do, this will save the police a lot of time later on down the road. Then the police will then hand all that information off to the detective. The detective will try to come up with anything, dive deep into it, and try to make any connections. Now, DNA analysis. This is any DNA that was collected from the scene, which there will most likely be, will be handed off to the forensic biologists. They will then run DNA analysis. And DNA analysis has came a very far way along the years. Say 15 to 20 years ago, it was super weak. You would have needed, to even get a remote accurate DNA result back, you would have needed 20 to 30 milligrams of blood, which to put into perspective is around 2 to 3 vials full of it. But now, say like today, you would only need a nanogram of DNA, which is the equivalent to say like a skin flake or a hair follicle. And since they're getting so much DNA back, it gives them a lot to work with. And this advancement in technology could be used to solve homicide cases from 20 to 30 years ago of cases that went cold or unsolved. But if, say they get DNA that they know is the suspect's, and they have it as DNA for sure, this could be very helpful later on. I'll get to that. Now, what the software engineers do, they will use facial recognition and facial reconstruction AI technology. So what facial recognition is biometrics. It takes any little detail of your face, from your width of your face, how big your forehead is, eye to ear spacing, eye spacing. For example, your Face ID on your phone will be using biometrics. This could be very helpful to say if murderers are most likely repeating offenders. They have already been in jail at least once, probably. This could be super helpful if they have a picture of the suspect on the scene of the crime, and they want to make sure it's the person that they have already a mugshot of. They will run a facial recognition on both ends of the picture. And how facial recognition can work is no matter how far the picture, like how far the face is away from the picture, it can still detect the distance and get accurate results back. So if the mugshot and the picture match, this can be super helpful because they already have the person's name, age, all that important information. Now, how facial reconstruction works is they could take a sketch of the suspect and turn it into a 3D model. This could be super helpful because going off of just a sketch while looking for somebody on the street can be super hard. And they could turn it into a 3D model pretty well because police do get pretty accurate sketches of what a suspect can possibly look like. So they could turn that to a 3D model, and they can be very helpful to identify somebody from the side, or they can for sure identify that person with the 3D model on the street. Now, public safety video and image analysis. This is technology that can pick off of a person or a vehicle or even an object like a weapon. They will run this through any video or image, any video or photo proof that they got of the crimes happening. So they will run this through if they make sure they didn't miss anything, because this can catch anything that the human eye missed, such as a weapon that was pulled out during the crime that they didn't find on the scene, or anybody that was off to the side of the camera that they possibly may have missed. Now, bringing the suspect into custody. When they bring the suspect into custody and they don't have undeniable proof already that that person did the crime, they will then have to bring them into interrogation. They will bring them into interrogation right after catching them on the street. And if they don't show fuss right away that they did the crime and they admit all the details to it, they will then have to use certain tactics, such as mentally weakening them, gaining their trust, or lying to them, which police are allowed to lie to suspects in custody. So firstly, they will keep them locked into a room for hours upon end, because people don't like the silence. This will hopefully be weakening them and just wanting them to fuss up and get out of that room quickly. Or they will lie to the suspect, saying that they have DNA evidence when they don't, or say if there was 2 people involved in the murder. They will keep them in separate rooms and try to get them to turn on to each other, such as saying the other person has already confessed to the crime, so they might as well as well, but the other person might have not even said a word to the police. Or they'll show them the evidence they do have, such as the picture of the dead body. This will in hopes of scaring the suspect into fussing up to the crime. So that one's just more of a scare tactic. Or another thing they'll do is they'll try to gain their trust by offering them a drink, a bag of chips, or a cigarette. Even though they're not even trying to gain their trust whatsoever. This could be used to hopes of getting some sort of DNA from them. They will take that cigarette or that bag of chips and try to find a fingerprint or any spit. They will send that into the DNA lab and get results back. And back when I said earlier, when they got the crime, they got the DNA from the suspect and they know it's the suspect's DNA. They'll match those two together, and if it matches, they'll put that to court, use that against them, and put them into jail. Now, courtroom and lie detectors. So the police don't really work with the court system as much through the crime. They will probably use them as a way to get warrants to search places they normally wouldn't allow to, or to talk to people they normally wouldn't be allowed to talk to, or even take the crime out to take the investigation out of the state. But when the suspect is in the courtroom, it will hook them up to a lie detector. And the way lie detectors normally work from 88 to 98% of the time. And the court is aware of that little slither that it won't work. But how lie detectors work is when you are lying to somebody, a part of your frontal lobe activates that increases your heart rate. The lie detector will read that and draw out the heart rate rising. And the court will see that and know that you are lying to them. But if you're a murderer, you're more than likely a psychopath who is used to lying. So lying to people normally won't affect you, and the lie detector won't read that, and it will say that you are telling the truth the whole time. But how do more than 50% of criminals keep on getting away with murder? Do they know what the police are doing? Do they have technology of their own? Well, it's pretty simple what they do. When they are committing a murder, most criminals will try to obscure the DNA, which is extremely hard to do because humans are constantly sludging off dead skin cells, hair follicles are falling out, they're sneezing, coughing. It's really hard to hide your DNA. So a lot of them will either wear gloves and shoe covers to hide their fingerprint and their footprints when doing the crime. Other ones will try to do both, or they'll do other ones will commit the murder where a lot of people have been, such as in public areas, dead at night, in their home. Then sometimes they'll try to obscure the victim's identity. And this one's pretty gruesome. They'll cut the victim's head off and take it somewhere far, far away, because it's pretty hard to find just one person's head. But this has been proved to be pretty inefficient over the years because they still have a whole body to work off of, or they have gotten pictures of what the victim looks like from family or friends throughout questioning. And then they will try to avoid cross crimes, such as stealing valuables off the victim's body, such as rings or money or expensive clothing. And then once they commit the crime, they will stay on the run. So they'll keep moving states, making the police have a giant goose chase. And what makes this really hard is because police can't take investigations throughout state without getting permission from their state and the state they want to go to. But people are allowed to just leave the state whenever they please. And then if they leave the country, might as well call it quits then and there. So it seems like the only problem we have when it comes to solving homicide cases is human intuition. Thank you for watching my TED Talk.